Well, what is up everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Random Projects, where I do random things with Arduinos and stuff. And today's random project, and probably the random project for the next few videos, is one that I always like to bring out every Halloween or spooky season or thereabouts, but I've never really publicly posted anything on YouTube or anywhere about it, so I think it would be actually a great idea to make a video about it. And and this project is a project where I take a ghost costume that I've had since like the second grade, and I modified it so I stick it on a tripod and put lights in it. Well, that's the long and short of it anyways. Now, in my case, I like being a bit more intricate about things, because if you've stuck around me, especially me in real life, you'd know that when I do something, I usually try and be a bit absurd about it. I try and be a bit extra with the project. And so basically, and the reason why it's a project that I always do early on, and in fact that's why I'm kind of making the videos now, it's because this project, it's one that I like to improve yearly, and it just keeps getting better and better, even though I've had some worse times and stuff on it, but usually down to stuff like time constraints and the like. But anyways, so so basically what it is that this ghost costume, I could just, it's been modified. I've been kind of working on it for the past few years, and I think in order to fully kind of understand where it is, I think we should probably give a bit of a historical type of context, I guess, into it. So back when I started it, I just used my Raspberry Pi, and it's pretty simple. And the costume was made by my mom like forever ago, and we don't really give up those things because it was really well made. So so that's why we kind of keep it the way it is and all that, and that's why it's put into good use in projects like this. And and of course it didn't really work out that well because it was Raspberry Pi powered, and although I wanted to do it so it was like an IoT device, it didn't really work out that great. So the second time around I switched over to using Arduino instead, and and then the third year, I think, which was last year, I moved over to using 3D printed parts, which really kind of helped out in a lot of professionalist kind of things. I don't know, a lot of the changes really are under the hood, but I think for this time, I think we're going to make one final swap for hardware, and and swap away from using Arduinos to ESP32 boards. This is an ESP32 that I picked up for a project for school forever ago. But since I have it, I'm going to kind of do it, and now that I've got experience writing netcode for these things, I'm going to kind of use that expertise and basically rewrite the entire code base so it would work on ESP32. And it's going to be real great, because I can, again, finally live out that whole concept that I originally wanted of it being something that you could do. For the lights, we're going to be using these standard RGB LEDs. These have always been the lights that I've been using for the project. I bought like 100 pack off Amazon forever ago. And most importantly, in today's video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be basically making a dev board on this, a very breadboard actually, where it's going to have like the full array of lights and stuff. And Now, one thing I should probably go over is why I'm switching to ESP32 from Arduino, even if the Arduino codebase has been working fine. Well, again, like I said, the whole point of this thing was to actually, when it was based on Raspberry Pi, was to basically be something where it could be easily set up. You could just go, and then you could set the colors of the lights off the internet and all that, and it would, and there would be some software behind it, and and everything to do all the controls and stuff. And yeah, I definitely want to try out that concept again, because back when I did my little project for school with this ESP board, I had actually learned quite a bit about writing code for doing that, so I want to try again with doing stuff with ESP32. And yeah, although it doesn't really affect a lot of things, you know, and I could probably just use the same code base, it would be pretty cool. I'd want to get a bit of a fresh start, think of it kind of with a fresh mind. I am pretty aware that I'm under a bit of a odd time constraint because I'm leveraging this against college and stuff, but yeah. So, yeah, but really the big thing is that ESP32s are just much better. Unless you count with the only really downside being the fact that they are technically 3.3 volts only, but these are 3.3 volts only as well, with a slight tinge of 2.2 on the reds. But anyways, but yeah, it's really, but yeah, no, because yeah, just doing stuff with this just seems to be pretty easy. So yeah, so let's get right into building this dev board up, and you might even see some code running by the end of this video. Alright, so here we are with all the parts. Yeah, so we've got some transistors. Funnily enough, these are ones that I inherited from the same place that I got all those tape decks that I did repairs on. Yeah, so these are actually from 1980, but they're about the same transistors that I still use to this day. These are 2N2222s, which are still available to this very day, and yeah, and since I typically use them, I think I use those ones here because they're pretty similar. Yeah, and I have this display. In fact, this is going to actually have two displays. I don't know. I love doing that. I'm just weird like that. I love my odd, quirky LCD and other display types. Got my big vat of RGB LEDs, a few buttons to interact with it, because there's going to be a bit of a slight OS type deal on this thing. And yeah, I've already got the ESP on the board, so let's get right into building it. Alright, so slight problem. The actual code for at least running the Arduino equivalent is off at my computer off at college, so I guess I'm gonna have to package this up all some way, somehow, and probably have this back on me so I can at least get the source code for it, and yeah, get it flashed onto it. Maybe when I get a pocket of time here and there, which I probably won't because it's kind of an exam week at the moment, you know, or at least the week that is filled the most with exams and homework and random gubbins like that. Yeah, I'll definitely have to, but when I get pockets of time, I'll definitely take a look at getting code on this thing so it can run some stuff, and yeah, maybe I'll get to work on adapting it and using ESP32 level features, like, you know, the Bluetooth and all the other cool stuff. But anyways, so yeah, yeah, and I guess we'll pick up with the on-camera stuff kind of at the end of the week when I have to go and post this. So jump cut to then, I guess. 1 week later. Alright, so right now we're at the day of when this video is supposed to be released, or more specifically the hour before this video is supposed to come out. So yes, this video is going to be very sloppily edited. But anyways, yeah, we're going to have, so yeah, so what we got ahead of us in store for us right now is I've gotten the firmware, although I had to recreate the software, I had to remake it to be a replica of its original code, because the original code was basically spaghetti code, and I haven't even bothered, and due to time constraints, I haven't really bothered to fix it in the past 3 years that I've been doing this project, so I decided I'm just going to do a fresh start again, and yeah, so we're currently running on this new code. I'm pretty confident in it, because yeah, we've got our display here, it's doing good with constant updating, and the big feature that I've upgraded in this code is I've added the ability for it to do a kind of pseudo multitasking type thing. It's more of that multitasking in which it just rips out the task, and it switches out the task every so often, you know. And eventually I'm going to release all this code, so you'll probably see how I did it. It's nothing too breathtaking, you know. But anyways, so yeah, one slight hardware change did have to happen. I did have to remove the transistors, unfortunately, which is a bit sad for me, because I wanted to keep them, just because I wanted to keep them in the project, just because, well, you know, you can't just run, it's not that great to just, or intuitive to just run the LEDs, all 16 of them, off of single pins, and it's just, but yeah, somehow this manages to work. So I guess if it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but it's just not optimal in my opinion. But anyways, so yeah, that's most of it. That's mostly it for today's video. I didn't really have that much footage to put into it, but anyways, yeah. So, if you like what you saw, please leave a like and subscribe. There's going to be a good 5 or 6 more videos in this series. We still got a whole lot to do. For example, next video we're probably going to be making all the Wi-Fi integrations and stuff that will make it all nice and connected, and even some stuff so it can talk to the computer over the serial port. We're even probably going to be making a few apps in there in the next video, and looking past that video, we will be doing a bit of work with 3D printing and CAD and all that, and yeah, we're probably also going to be taking this breadboard, and we're going to move it over to a much more final design using a PCB type thing, which will probably come before the 3D printing and all the other CAD work, because you know, you fit your electronics, you fit your case around your electronics, not your electronics around your case. So anyways, so that's it for today's video. If you like what you saw, please leave a like and subscribe. This channel is very random, so this is probably among one of the projects that you'll probably see on the channel, but it might be most of the videos for the next while. So if you're into that, the subscribe button is right somewhere down there. But yeah, but thanks for watching, and bye.